Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Car Ride Reviews. Today, we're going to be reviewing Loki. I just finished binge watching it, so here we go.
Come on. What did you expect?
Now, first off, I have to say I absolutely loved this series, and I'm a big fan of Marvel, and particularly the Norse characters like Thor and Loki. I think Marvel's done a really good job at implementing them into their series and movies, so I was really excited about this show to begin with. And I have to say, this series was amazing. It did not disappoint. The production design is just on point, chef's kiss. And I particularly enjoyed the music as well. It was really cinematic and added a real atmospheric feel to the whole show. I would unironically listen to the soundtrack as I'm studying. It would be really good study music. And the whole series as well is just shot really beautifully. A lot of the show takes place in offices at a place called the TVA, and all the rooms are just architecture masterpieces, and the camera work just knows how to capture the elegance and essence of this magical organization. Those were the two things that really brought me in as soon as I started watching the series. I was like, wow, this show is going to be awesome, and if not, it's going to be great to look at and listen to. But luckily enough, the story and the characters are brilliant too. You know, we've seen Loki grow over the past 10 years of his movies, but now he's front and center and he really gets a chance to shine. You can tell that the writers of the series knew what Tom Hiddleston's strengths were. You know, he comes from a big background in Shakespeare, and you can tell that the series draws a lot of inspiration from that and really lets Tom Hiddleston play to his strengths. You know, there's some really powerful acting in this show and lots of emotion too. I could really feel it. But my new favorite character in the show is actually Owen Wilson's character, Mobius. Him and Loki just have amazing chemistry, and I really like his character because he doesn't have any superpowers. He's just a really good listener and a good friend. And it's something that we've never seen in the MCU before. A character that's just really cool without superpowers. You could maybe argue that for people like Black Widow and Hawkeye, but they have super strength. This guy is just a man, but he's still just so captivating, and I love him. As the series progresses as well, you start to realize that it's dealing with some really complex, deep philosophical issues. Like, what is your purpose in the universe? Is there such thing as free will, or is everything predetermined? And is it possible for people to change? Or are you just stuck being the same old version of yourself forever? You know, it really highlights these important questions, and it gives you some answers, but it also leaves it up to your interpretation and leaves you thinking, what is your purpose? Are you destined to be the same forever, or can you change? Loki goes through a journey in the show, but it's also up to you. What do you think? I'd really love to hear your answer to some of these questions in the comments down below. I think it's pretty clear that I love this series, from the music to the set design, the characters, the acting. I'm going to give Loki Season 1 a 10 out of 10. Now, if you're still here, I want to get into a few spoilers. Obviously, one of the big reveals in the show is that Loki is secretly hunting down a female version of himself. And this version is called Sylvie, but I didn't really like her character. She was alright, but she didn't really feel like a Loki. And there's obvious reasons for that. She's a girl and she's lived a very different life. And they explored some interesting ideas with her character. Mainly, because she's so different, how are they similar though? What really makes a Loki a Loki? And even though there may be different versions of Loki, what's the same with a Loki, no matter what version of him you see? That was a really interesting idea, but I still feel like her character was pretty bland. And I only really felt invested with her because Loki, our version of Loki, liked her so much. Why'd she have to break his heart? I just wanted Loki to be happy, now he can't. And the finale too was a bit of a letdown for me. I feel like over time it will get better, but I feel like they kind of abandoned the character of Loki in the finale and just left it to set up a bigger, badder villain. I wish the series kept its focus on Loki and didn't feel like it was just a setup for the next phase of movies or whatever. The show should have ended with episode 5, and episode 6 was the start of something new. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But overall, still a 10 out of 10 series, and I loved it, and you should check it out too.